The Yorkshire Dales landscape behind me here is absolutely spectacular. Why then, when I photograph it, does it just look flat and boring? 90% of photographers will struggle to translate the beauty of a landscape into their photographs. In this video, I'm going to share with you a 5-step process that will breathe life and excitement into your landscape shots. And make sure you stick around to the end, because I'll not only reveal this beautiful location where I'm filming today, I've also got another bonus tip up my sleeve for you as well. Also, if you know of any exciting landscape photography locations here in the Yorkshire Dales, then please share them with me in the comments. And if you can find one that I've not been to photograph before, then you're in for a few more brownie points. Anyway, let's crack on with step number 1. What is your subject? If you've answered the landscape to that question, I'm sorry, you're just going to have to try a little bit harder. Because in landscape photography, or any type of photography for that matter, we need something to grab people's attention, something that's going to stand out within our image. Hang on a minute. What about this tree over here? Yes, this will do nicely. As you can see, all we've done is placed a tree in front of the landscape that we were looking at before, but it's already started to grab your interest. Instead of it just being a flat, wide open landscape, we've got something to gravitate our attention to, something to lead the composition. But I don't know about you, it's still looking a bit boring. So let's move on to step number 2. When we look at the landscape with our eyes, we see this 3-dimensional, 360-degree view. Well, maybe 120 degrees, unless you're that girl from The Exorcist. But my point is that when we photograph that view, we're not only restricting it to that small rectangular frame, we're also flattening it into a 2-dimensional image. Therefore, we need a way of reapplying that illusion of depth. And the best way to do that is through layering our shots. Why couldn't I have chosen a location with sturdier ground? Let's go back to our tree and see how we can put this idea of layering into action. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to come and take you off the tripod, and apologies if anybody's seasick, because this could get a little bit bumpy. Whoop, there we go. I'll try and make this as painless as possible. So one of the best places to start when it comes to layering is dropping your angle, getting down below what I like to call tripod eyes, where you're shooting from eye level all the time. What you'll see this has done is it's brought more emphasis onto the rocks here in the foreground. And these are now acting as what I like to call visual stepping stones. They're leading our eye towards the tree. Also, if we drop down a little bit further, we can project that tree further above the horizon line behind. And what this has the effect of doing is not only giving the tree a bit more space and emphasis in the shot, it also separates it out from the background. So we've now got these 3 distinct layers. We've got the rocks acting as foreground interest, we've got our tree in the midground, and we've got the landscape in the background. And they're all separated out quite neatly. Now, let me put you back on the tripod for this next bit, because when I'm crouching down, I'm not the sturdiest of units. You can't say I don't suffer for my art. So, we've got our subject and we've separated it out into those distinct layers of foreground, midground and background. But I don't know about you, but it's still not really doing it for me. Yes, it looks much better than that plain old wide open landscape that we started with, but we need to do something else. When it comes to organising our photograph, we have to pay a little bit more attention to the shape and direction of things that we've already got in our frame. I like to think of it a little bit like putting a jigsaw puzzle together. We're faced with lots of these little individual pieces, and it's our job as photographers to put them together into this coherent picture. So if you haven't yet taken another one of those seasickness tablets, then maybe now's the time to do so, because I'm going to pick you up and take you to another location around this tree that I think works a little bit better than the one that we've got already. Whoop! I'm falling over again. Right, so here goes. Now you'll notice that this tree is leaning ever so slightly away from the prevailing wind over to the right. So what I'm aiming to do is to place the tree on the left-hand side of the picture, because then it's going to lead people's eye towards the middle of the photograph, which is ideally where we want them to look. Now, if I go back down to ground level here and have a look what we've got, woo, we're very wonky there. Hang on a minute, straighten that up. So by placing it on the left-hand side, we're drawing the eye now more around that central point. But you'll notice that we've lost the rocks in the foreground. So what I might do with my zoom lens, which I don't usually have on the camera, is zoom in ever so slightly where we've got the rocks underneath the tree and tilt the camera up ever so slightly. So we've now projected our tree above the horizon line. We've got the foreground interest of the rocks, but we've also got the tree more neatly organised on that left-hand side of the frame. I'm going to do a little bit more tweaking to see if I can get this spot on without you having to be really ill, and we'll come back and have a look at the finished picture. There we go. I think I've got it. What I've done here to try and organise the composition a little bit better is I've placed the tree slightly left of the centre point to draw your eye and circulate it around the middle of the picture. I've also tried to project it even more above the horizon line, so not even the bottom branches are crossing over the hills behind. And I've added a splash of colour on the rocks in the foreground with these beautiful yellow flowers which are leading your eye in from the right hand bottom corner. So the composition just looks a lot more balanced. The eye is being led exactly where I want it to be led, and along the way it's picking up other little elements of interest to keep your eye very much well and truly planted within the composition, making it a much stronger landscape photograph. So, from that boring, wide open, flat landscape that we started off with, we've now introduced a subject. We've placed it between three distinct layers to provide that extra illusion of depth. And we've also organised our composition so our eye is led exactly where we want it to be led to. So if you're out and about on a nice summer's day on a walk, then following these first three tips are going to be absolutely perfect for breathing a lot more life and excitement into your landscape shots. But hang on a minute, what if you really want to take this landscape photography thing to another level? Then you're going to need steps 4 and 5. The best friend and of course worst enemy of us photographers is of course light. I've been grappling with it all day as the sun goes in and out of the clouds mid-take. But without it, we can't do our job. And there's one distinct time of day when landscape photography is best suited, and that is golden hour. Golden hour is the hour just after sunrise and just before sunset. It's during these times where you'll get warmer, softer light, and you'll get longer shadows, which in turn emphasises that depth within your photograph. As well as considering the time of day that you shoot, it's also worth considering the time of year as well. It all comes down to personal preference, but for me, summer landscape photography doesn't tick my boxes as much as winter landscape photography. During the summer, I just find everything a little bit too, well, green. Whereas during the winter, you get much more subdued colours, softer lighting, and much greater drama and atmosphere in your photographs. Take this two-shot example, the one that we took of the tree today in the summer, and one of the same tree that I took during winter golden hour. For me, there's only one winner, but you can make your own decision on that. Hang on a minute though. What I don't want you to think is that to be the best landscape photographer you can be, you're limited to two very unpredictable hours during the day weather-wise, during a very unpredictable season of the year. In fact, that couldn't be further from the truth. So let me share with you that bonus tip that I promised you at the start of the video. The truth is, you can take fantastic landscape photos at any time of the year, during any type of light, and at any time of the day. All we need to do is diversify what we photograph. Maybe add a splash of colour to your summer photographs. Go the opposite way and turn your shots black and white to emphasise mood and atmosphere. As long as you follow those first three steps of finding a subject, layering it up with depth and organising the frame, you're sure to breathe far much more life and excitement into your shots than just widely shooting an open landscape. So, why not come to this very location to start your landscape photography journey? Today, I've been filming and photographing in the Yorkshire Dales, just outside the town of Grassington, above Grass Wood. I've included the what three words to the exact location in the description below. If you've enjoyed this video and got something out of it, then don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the Yorkshire Photo Walks YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. If you want to learn more about composing your shots, then why not watch this video next? I look forward to seeing you again soon, but until then, thank you very much for watching.